how fitting that we're here today on Easter, which is a holiday about hope. We're just really glad to be with you. So we're going to share a song from The Greatest Showman featuring Karen. It's called A Million Dreams. My eyes and I can see the world that's waiting for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, and it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care if they call me crazy. Run away to a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams in the world we're gonna make. There's a house been built, every room inside is filled from far away. Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care if they call me crazy. Run away to a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I dream of what the world can be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams in the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be a part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but I say you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams in the world we're gonna make. Oh, a million dreams in the world we're gonna make. Wow. Let's just keep dreaming. And we're going to start our service the way we always do, by affirming what we know to be true. God is good and all is well. Feel free to stand if you so choose to stand. You can stay seated as well, though. beautiful morning beyond compare. I feel God's loving presence everywhere. I am filled with joy profound in a world where many miracles abound. In the garden of my soul, I am happy, healed, and whole. I know that God is good and all is well. In the garden of my soul, I am happy, healed, and whole. I know that God is good and all is well.
Bravo! Good morning. My name is Kelly Lane, and I'm so happy to be here. So happy to see the doors open. Yeah. Lots of fresh air. Welcome to Unity of Bon Air, where we live and express unconditional love and grow together in peace and prosperity. My name is Kelly Lane, and I'm a prayer chaplain here and a service leader. I am glad to be with you this morning, both in person and online. Hello, camera. Whether this is your first time or your 100th time joining us, we are grateful for your presence and participation as we share this special time together. We have come together as part of love's divine purpose that calls each of us forth to celebrate the connection we all share through the holy presence within and all around us that we call God. In this spirit of community, we enfold in light and love all spiritual and religious gatherings and all people everywhere. And we begin our time together with this special message from Daily Word. The word for today is arise. But I can't help but think of joy. That's tomorrow's word, by the way. My Unity minister brother, Ted, his mantra was joy. And I think of him on Easter morning. In Mark's, the affirmation for today is, I welcome my resurrection experience. And when I say my and I, you say my and I to yourself. In Mark's gospel, the women who come to anoint Jesus' body on Easter morning flee in terror when, after finding the tomb empty, they are told Jesus has been raised. Stories from the early Christian communities describe a transformation from fear to faith in Jesus' early followers, as they come to realize that not even death can hold the Christ Spirit captive. With joyous faith, Jesus' followers greet one another, declaring, "He is risen," and declaring and affirming, "He is risen indeed." Letting go of fear, I say yes to my resurrection experience. Guided by the resurrecting power of the Christ Spirit within me, I am set free from the tomb of lack and limitation. I follow Jesus into the light of new awareness, a new dimension of the life Christ is risen in me. The scripture for today is, "But he said to them, 'Do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here.'" Mark 16:6. And I have an introduction for Valerie Kay. The Reverend Valerie Kay has been an associate minister of education at Unity of Bonaire since 2018. She currently serves on the board of the Unity Urban Ministerial School alumni and is an online instructor for UUMS. Valerie has been a traveling guest minister and musician for Unity for over 20 years. She has been sharing her gift of song since she was a young girl and has facilitated many experiential workshops and groups, including, is that right? Ropes course, firewalks, chant, and drum circles, and women's group. Her number one desire is to assist all people to awaken to their magnificence and connect with the sacred to live a life of peace, fulfillment, and abundance. She currently resides in Chesterfield, Virginia with her wife and 3 four-leggeds. And now I invite you to look around to the other people in this sanctuary or around the room or place where you are and recognize the truth of this beautiful song. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
Glorious morning to you all. Please join me in an opening prayer. I'm doing something a little differently. This is our opening prayer for today is from Blessings and Invocations, and this is an East African medicinal missionary sister prayer. Spirit of God, in the clear running water, blowing to greatness, the trees on the hill. Spirit of God, in the finger of morning, fill the earth, bring to it birth, and blow where you will. Blow, 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 till I be but breath of the Spirit blowing me. Down in the meadows, the willows are moaning. Sheep in the pasture land cannot lie still. Spirit of God, creation is groaning. Fill the earth, bring it to birth, and blow where you will. Blow, 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 till I be but breath of the Spirit blowing in me. Spirit of God, and everyone's heart is lonely. Everyone's heart is lonely, watching and waiting, hungry, until Spirit of God, man belongs that you only fulfill the earth. Bring it to birth and blow where you will. Blow, 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 till I be but breath of Spirit blowing in me. And I would like to welcome all of our members who are watching online today. Thank you for joining us, and all of those who are here in this room. It is so wonderful to see you, see your faces and your eyes smiling, and to be together again here in person. We were connected. We were never separate in spirit, but we were in our various locations, joining together in the ways that we continue to join together. And so we welcome you. And so let us now come together and we'll sing our congregational song.
I'd like to invite you to stand during this. And you can, I guess, sing with your mask on. Is that what we're doing now? All right. Feels like we're in a garden right now. You can hear the birds singing, and as Valerie mentioned, all eyes are smiling. It's beautiful. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where his feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Oh, we do have a part before our song. So please, let's remain standing and we'll sing our statement of oneness together. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the omnipotent good.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom Please be seated. Well, when we sang about a million dreams earlier today, one of my million dreams is that I'll be singing this song next year with my choir. Of course, truth be told, they're going to be singing from their seats. I know they will, and I'm so grateful to sing this for you every year. It really is my unity story, truly.
The dead of winter's over and gone, and a brand new day is finally dawned. Born anew. The bitter cold and the icy gloom are now tiny buds about to bloom. They will rise in you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You are my light. You are my joy, my joy. You are my strength. I rise in you. You are my hope, my hope. You are my love, yeah, yeah. You are my peace. I rise in you. Everything upon this earth participate in this rebirth and be born anew. Let every heart be lifted higher. Let every soul now be inspired to rise in you. Yeah, yeah. You are my light. You are my light. You are my joy, my joy. You are my strength, yeah, yeah. I rise in you. I rise in you. You are my hope, my hope. You are my love, my love. You are my peace. I rise in you. You are the force that lifts the eagle's wings. You are the power that makes my heart to sing. You are the power that turns an acorn to a tree. You are the power working miracles in me. And I rise in you. I rise in you. I rise in you. I rise and I rise in you. You are my light. You are my high. You are my joy. My joy, you are my strength. Hey, yeah, I rise in you. You are my hope. Yeah, you are my love. Oh, my love, you are my peace. Hey, yeah, I rise in you. You are my light. Oh, my light. You are my joy. My joy, you are my strength, yeah, yeah, yeah. I rise in you, I rise in you. You are my hope, you are my love, hey, hey, yeah. You are my peace, hey, hey. I rise in you, I rise in you, I rise in you, I rise like a flower blooming underneath the sun. I rise in you. I rise in you every day. Yeah. I rise in you. Oh yeah. I rise in you. I rise in you.
Thank you, music team.
Ah, yes. Thank you, Claudia, for that inspired, beautiful song, which represents what we're here to talk about today. I want to again wish you a happy and joyous Easter. It's so great to be here with you in person again after. I feel the energy, I feel the love, and that's what we're here, and that's what we're all about. It was a year ago today, about they're waving at me. Use the other mic. Yes, thank you. That's right, thank you. It was a year ago today that life as we knew it came to a screeching halt, right? And our lives were changed for good. I mean, there is no normal to go back to. So we're about rising and creating a new normal, a new life, stretching past those restrictions of this growing period, that gestation period of whatever is being birthed out of the global pandemic and all that went with it. So today we've come together on this Easter day to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus and the process of renewal, rebirth, and resurrection in our own lives. It's signified all over in nature. As we move from the dark of winter and into spring, the days become longer and lighter, signified by the caterpillar, going through its metamorphosis, turning into a butterfly, and the budding flowers, all that Claudia's song speaks to. And this resurrection principle is a process of moving from darkness into light and from ignorance to knowledge. And in our consciousness, this resurrection principle is that of transforming these most difficult experiences into the greater awareness of who we are, our spiritual I am, the Christ consciousness. For it is a process of release, reflection, and renewal. And we run into barriers. When we run into those barriers of separation, then we must go within and reflect upon what it all is showing us, what it's all teaching us. To reflect on our thoughts and feelings around it. What needs to be released and forgiven in order to rise to a higher vibration of thought and feeling. When we use that power of release, then we become aligned with our spiritual identity instead of our personality. So today we're going to explore these steps of transformation from the rebirth of rebirth, from Jesus' resurrection and the crucifixion on Friday, the tomb on Saturday, the resurrection on Sunday. Unity's co-founder, Charles Fillmore, says the resurrection takes place in us every time we rise to the Jesus realization of the perpetual indwelling life that is connecting us to the Father. A new flood of life comes to all who open their minds and their bodies to the living Word of God. So I hope you're ready. Are you ready? All right. I was going to say I can't hear you, but I can. Ready to rise and resurrect out of restriction and limitation? I know I am. It seems like this past year has been a long tomb, a long Saturday in the tomb of restriction and separation. So by definition, a restriction is something that restricts, a restrictive condition or regulation, a limitation. In nature, we see this, followed by new growth. That caterpillar into a butterfly, that grain of sand that irritates the oyster until it becomes a beautiful pearl. The lobster sheds its exoskeleton when the body inside gets too big for it, and it grows a new shell. And it does this process over and over again The chick inside the egg pecks its way out when it can no longer live and stay inside the shell, for life can't be sustained there anymore. Just as a baby must be birthed from mother's womb, and the body must be released at death. Now, these are not comfortable at all. In fact, the process can be quite painful, but our spiritual growth can be uncomfortable, especially when we resist it. So it's this resistance, the holding back, the lack of forgiveness that causes suffering. These are our metaphorical crucifixion experiences. And at some point, it becomes so uncomfortable that we can no longer stand it. And we are propelled from what seem to be invisible forces that cause us to grow. Anais Nin said, "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was greater than the risk it took to blossom." So what if we look at this discontent as if it is time to blossom? What is being blossomed? What is being grown out of this into greater expression of who you are, divinity in expression? Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, also talks about crucifixion in metaphysical terms as the means to cross out errors that have become fixed in our minds. In Keep a True Lent, he describes that there are 3 phases or steps of overcoming fear and limitation. And that first step is non-resistance. Taking on of divine activity or the will of God. That's step number 2. And number 3 is the assimilation of that divine will. And he describes the 3 days that Jesus spent in the tomb as representing those 3 steps of overcoming error, of releasing lack and limitation. So to overcome the difficulties that we face, we must look to a higher understanding. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but it's hard to see ourselves on the other side of it when we're in the middle of it. In the middle of that birthing canal, in that waiting period. So as I said earlier, the waiting period is the time to reflect, to release, and to renew ourselves. So get quiet and prayerful. Practice self-care. Acknowledge the struggle. Observe your thoughts and feelings around it. And then let go of those that do not serve you anymore. Surrender them, release them, and forgive. For surely it's the forgiveness that heals us and opens the door for our hearts, for our minds and our hearts to open, to express love. Otherwise, we're cutting love off from our hearts. So remember this, you are passing through a transforming process that will be followed by a resurrection of all that is worth saving. Of all that is worth saving. Not everything's worth saving, right? That's from Charles Fillmore, Adam's Smashing Power of the Mind. And the only way transformation takes place in us is when we release, when we let go, when we forgive. We release those restrictive thoughts, beliefs and perceptions that are the barrier to love's expression in and through us. Our Christ consciousness, or the universal Christ, as described by Richard Rohr, a Franciscan monk, in his book, The Universal Christ. This is the book. In it he says, Jesus is a map for the time-bound and personal level of life. And Christ is the blueprint for all time and space and life itself. Both reveal the universal pattern of self-emptying and infilling, the Christ, and death and resurrection, Jesus, which is the process that we call holiness, salvation, or just growth at different times in our history. Unquote. Life is full of dark nights, waiting in the tomb before that dawn of resurrection, but the resurrection is assured to come. For every dark night comes the dawn. There are times, though, of feeling isolated, loss of loved ones, a health crisis, loss of ability, loss of relationship, times of questioning, and times of despair. These dark night experiences are defined as tests of faith sometimes, but they don't define us. But they also provide opportunities in which to act in faith, not knowing in certainty what the outcome will be, because that's what faith is. Faith is knowing without seeing. So we transcend these tragedies and bring with us the wisdom and the understanding, a higher perspective of what we learn from it. And then once we come through the experience, we don't stay focused on the pain and the suffering it caused. We celebrate the newness and the blessings and the transformation that came from it, for we are a new creature. We've renewed our minds. The origin of the word Easter comes from Estra, the Anglo-Saxon goddess of spring and fertility. This is how the Easter egg and the chick have come to symbolize Easter. Our life is a fertile ground for the activity of God to express as us. When that caterpillar goes into the cocoon and winds down and stays in the cocoon, it doesn't see what it's going to become. It doesn't know it's going to become a winged creature and fly one day. Any more than we know sometimes what will become of us. But we have faith and we know that it will be great. So when we are in the tomb or birthing canal, we don't always know we're going to be able to fly or what it'll be like out of restriction. But we can use our imagination to envision it and to feel it. Feel what it would like on the other side. The power of our imagination. What do we learn about Jesus' growth account and story about growth? Here again is what Richard Rohr says in his book. Christ is a good and simple metaphor for absolute wholeness, complete incarnation, and the integrity of creation. Jesus is the archetypal human, just like us, who showed us what the full human might look like if we could fully live into it. Frankly, Jesus came to show us how to be human, much more than how to be spiritual, and the process seems to be in its early stages. He said, Christ is the light that allows people to see things in their fullness. The precise and intended effect of such light is to see Christ everywhere. This is the common purpose of every one of us, to see the face of God in everyone and everything. This is what the mystics of all the ages all sought and some attained. Jesus was a mystic. He attained it. He was a revolutionary bringing these ideas forth. He broke the rules of the day, the religious rules that were restrictions. He dined and talked with outcasts, with women, healed on the Sabbath. He said things like, I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. I am the way, the truth, and the light. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the vine and you are the branches. He said, these and greater things shall you do to his disciples. All these I am statements are found in the book of John. But this isn't Jesus, the man, speaking this. This is Jesus speaking as the universal Christ, that blueprint for all time and space and life itself that exists in everyone. I'd like to leave you today with an acronym to remind us of the tools that we have for transforming and resurrecting that which is worth keeping. R, it spells out the word rise, by the way. R is reflect and release. If you find yourself depressed, discouraged, drained, take a time out, pause, go within, pray for as long as it takes. The 40 days that Jesus spent in the wilderness on his own represents a time of completion. It takes as long as it takes. So come apart for a while until your reflection informs you what stone to roll away, what to release, what needs to be forgiven. I liken it to when you have a rock in your shoe or a stone, do you keep walking with that stone in there? It feels like, it could be a grain of sand, but it feels like a boulder. So don't we stop and take it out of our shoe before we walk on? So that's kind of like what that releasing process is. Stop and pause and reflect and release. And then that will tell us what to release, what to forgive, what to let go of, which is that first step that Charles Fillmore talked about of crossing out error. And Jesus in his ministry said to forgive 70 times 7. That's not just 490 times. It means it's an ongoing process or spiritual practice. I stands for interrupt. Interrupt the pattern of negative thought and turn your mind to the infinite, the I am of you. That's step 2. That's taking on the divine activity or will of God that Fillmore talked about. Interrupt that pattern. Look to that spiritual identity, that living presence that is within to guide your human along. To interrupt, we use releases and affirmation statements. I personally use, I release, I let go, I surrender, I forgive. I release, I let go, I surrender, I forgive. And then, I am love, loving. I am divine love, loving. S, suspend judgment. Judgment on yourself, judgment on others. And instead, become a witness of conscious neutrality. Judgment itself is resistance. If you suspend judgment, you can call forth the good out of any situation. You can see Christ everywhere. So remember that this is a chapter in your life, but not the whole story. And it's a chapter in someone else's life and not their whole story. E, expression. Remember that you are an expression of oneness. That which is in you, which is spirit, is greater than that which is in the world. And as you express or assimilate that universal Christ within you, step 3 of crossing out error, you can overcome the world, human limitation, as Jesus taught, through love and forgiveness. His 2 great commandments. So, rise, let's recap. R, reflect and release, roll away the stones of separation. I, interrupt patterns of negative thought with release and affirmations. S, suspend judgment. 12th century poet Rumi said, listen with the ears of tolerance, see through the eyes of compassion, and speak with the language of love. E, express. Laughter, that's the language of love. E, express and assimilate your divine nature by living the truth you know. Rumi also said, you are a drop in the ocean, or you are not a drop in the ocean. That's what he started with. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. In closing, I'd like to share a few final words before we move into meditation and a flower ceremony. It was Paul who said in Romans 8:13, and this is New King James Version, "For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live." When we put away the deeds of the body or flesh, which includes our limiting judgmental thoughts, we go through these little deaths, and by the Spirit we are reborn, and Easter is reflected in our lives on a daily basis. Every day we have the opportunity to release, to let go, to rise to higher consciousness, which is consciousness of love. So in today's release and renewal booklet that Unity put out for the season of Lent, I'd like to share with you a little bit of the message from that, and also let you know, if you haven't already picked up a bag, a goodie bag, we have some out there on the promenade when you leave, and we also have some new things in there. We have some butterflies for your flowers or your garden. And we have the release and renewal. We have some scripture mints and some affirmations in there. And anyway, the message for today on Easter Sunday is about the seventh living word, which is what Jesus said on the cross when he said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." It's about surrender. We don't release without surrendering. And this is excerpted from Reverend Mark Anthony Lord's book, The Seven Living Words. Jesus' life and death were an absolute demonstration of surrender, faith, and unconditional love. His final teaching in the seventh living word, surrender, is his resurrection. Surrender contains within it all the support and guidance you need for your journey of transformation, the return to God, your greatness. When it comes to this final living word, we need to remember something essential. We need to remember we have to live in surrender. It is not a one-time deal, if only it were. Over many years of practice, we deepen our understanding, our willingness, and our experience of surrender. Surrendering is a process that is infinite, and there are always deeper layers to dive into until enlightenment is reached. The relief of surrendering to God completely is phenomenal. It is the greatest spiritual practice and the most important one on our journey of transformation. All we're seeking to know God in and as our life, all our spirit truly wants, is to experience the kingdom of heaven. Now, as you surrender to that small, still voice, you shall see. You shall see love that has no conditions. You shall see joy that has no bounds. You shall see peace that is beyond understanding, and you shall see the kingdom of heaven. This is the will of God. In the words of my fellow Unity minister, Reverend Cheryl Rose, she said, Jesus lived his life as a demonstration of what is possible when we are connected to our divine self and in the flow of good that is God. He denied that there is any separation And he made that way of living life available to all people. Today is the acknowledgement and the celebration of a way of living that Jesus made to each of us. Available to each of us. He inspires us as an example of being that I and the Father are one, and that the kingdom of heaven is within us right now as we connect to our divine self, also known as the Christ in us. So today we proclaim our Christ nature that is the truth of our being. We deny any undesirable traits and center our consciousness on the perfect Spirit within. And together, we are lifted in our conscious awareness through the example that Jesus gave of living life. And that's what Richard Rohr said when he said that Jesus taught us how to be human, fully human, meaning bringing that divine above, below. So it is, my friends. Amen. And now we'll prepare for a little meditation, and then we will go into our flower ceremony. And I want to thank Barbara and her team for putting the wreaths together and the flowers and all that we have for us out there on the promenade. It takes a village, and we've had a lot of wonderful volunteers who have worked today to make this a beautiful experience. So, let's relax, breathe deeply, close your eyes or gaze softly on a candle or a place in front of you. As you breathe into the depth of your abdomen, I am reminded of the words of the song that we just sang. The bitter cold and the icy gloom are now tiny buds about to bloom, born anew. Feel that expectancy of new life ready to burst through the darkness from the ground, reaching up toward the sun. And just like that seed in the ground, which rests in the dark, there is growth emerging. You and I can rest in spirit to bring forth this life emerging in us. Life is forever blessing me with purest energy. Eternal life in me, breath of infinity, quickens my heart and my soul and makes me whole. Feel this life radiating and vibrating the cells of your muscles, your organs, your tissues, aligning your mind and your body with this blueprint of wholeness. Let it pour down upon you like a shower of light. And we are now in this Garden of Eden consciousness. Imagine or sense or feel that you are walking along a beautiful garden path. The last of the snow is melting. Trees are budding. The crocuses and the flowers are peeking out of the ground. The promise of beautiful, brilliant, colorful blooms. Feel the spring in the air. You can smell the aroma of the trees and the flowers budding. That bitter cold is gone. There's a warm breeze that you can feel on your skin and blowing on your face. The birds are singing. An eagle soars over your head. The sun is bright. And just like this beautiful landscape, so parallels your life. Whatever aspect of darkness and gloom that has been burdensome is rising up now from the ground into higher awareness. The greater good that is unfolding. And you are lifted higher into the lightness of being, of joy, of hope, of love, and the resurrection of that Spirit in you. For Jesus said, I came that they might have life and have it abundantly. This life is raising you up, spirit, soul, and body, into your divine awareness of the whole, the holy. Any past mistakes or errors have been released. And this power is within you that lifts eagle's wings, that turns an acorn to a tree, that works miracles in you and me. We are in and of and swimming in that. So let these words be your words. I am free from unlimiting thoughts and beliefs. I release and let go and surrender and forgive. In unity with my divine presence, the Christ, I am resurrected into the life, the light, and the power of God. So bring and breathe that in now and rest in this realization in the silence. We give thanks for this time, the time of going within to that sacred place. So you may breathe deeply, a few breaths, and let go and feel alive, awake, and invigorated. And wiggle your fingers, your toes, open your eyes if you haven't already. And we'll do a brief flower ceremony with a responsive reading, which is going to show up here on the screen. If in other circumstances we would all have our flowers in our hands, we're doing it a little differently to get today. And so this wreath is going to go out on the promenade afterwards, and you may take a flower home with you, or an extra flower to your loved ones, a goodie bag from the promenade. So the flower, or the carnation and the wreath is filled with carnations, and these carnations represent admiration and love and affection. And according to Christian legend, the carnation grew from the Virgin Mary's tears. So they became associated with motherly love. And so if you imagine yourself with your flower in your hand, I'll do my part, and then you'll do the response part, which is going to be up on the screen. There. All right. Every human being is on a journey of developing good, of awakening to oneness. Jesus said, "I and the Father are one. The kingdom of heaven is at hand." How we awaken to the divine is less important than the truth that we do awaken. Together, we are assured that when we desire with all our hearts to awaken, we shall surely find God within. Sometimes we can more fully express our feelings and our desires in a simple act of faith than we can in words. In either case, a symbol is used. And that symbol is the flower today. Together, today we use the language of action by offering our devotion in an active prayer of faith. The life of each of us is a part of the larger life of God. Together, "I am the vine and you are the branches," said Jesus. It is in us that the life of God comes into manifestation. Together, the closer we live to God, the more beautiful and radiant are our own lives, and the more glorious life becomes for us. Thank you. And so as you leave again, remember to take a flower with you. Share it with a friend or loved ones if you so choose. And so once again, I wish you a very happy and joy-filled Easter. Thank you. Now is the time in our service of our tithes and our offerings, and I want to acknowledge all the beautiful and wonderful giving of your time, your talent, and your treasures. Tithing is not a debt, it is a gift, and so we give. So what you give to Unity of Bonaire, Unity of Bonaire is able to also tithe and give out. So I want to bless our tithes for this month, because we're in a new month. And some of the organizations we tithe to in our community are Richmond Hill, the Restoration Fellowship Christian Center, which is feeding people. Yeah, we have a partnership with them. Feed More. The Chesterfield County Food Bank. Crossover Ministries. And our unity organizations, our Silent Unity Prayer Ministry and so forth, Unity World Headquarters and so forth. We also have a tithe and a thank you for Kevin Bright, who has for many, many years given us his time and talent as our IT consultant. And so we have chosen to tithe to him in appreciation. He helped us with our live stream when Natalie started here too. So, if you will take your offering in your hand or in your heart, just think whether you're giving online or whether you're giving in person, we bless our tithes. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, for the joy of giving and receiving. I heard some joy out there. Yes. Yes. And now our music team is going to bless us, and I do hope you'll rise up on your feet and join us. Thank you. Karen and Todd, our drummer today. Lucy, Claudia.
Natalie. Many of you haven't had a chance to actually meet Natalie, but she's here today, so our video tech. Yes, thank you. All right, take a deep breath. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Many pray along the way. They don't stop to wonder
What the world is coming to.
They let something higher reveal the way to greater love.
Ooh. So the world is telling me,
Sing of liberation.
for the ones who are not free,
Love can take us higher, reveal the way to greater love.
oh yeah,
We let it,
wash over us.
we let it,
Make us kinder.
we let it,
In the morning,
we let it be. We let it,
lift us higher.
we let it,
Hold us together.
we let it,
Wash over us.
we let it be. Oh, we let it.
yeah.
Still some cry along the way,
Walking through the sadness.
for a world that needs to know
Love can take us higher.
reveal the way to greater love. Ooh. So the truth keeps telling me
Love's the only answer.
and to all humanity, we can stay inspired, reveal the way to greater love. Oh yeah, we let it wash over us. We let it make us kinder. We let it early in the morning. We let it be. We let it lift us higher. We let it hold us together. We let it wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the light. We let the light. The light. We let the light wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy. We let the joy. The joy. Let the joy wash over us. Wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace. We let the peace. The peace. We let the peace wash over us. Wash over us. We let it be. We let the love. We let the love. The love. We let the love wash over us. We let the love.
Thank you, music team, Claudia, Karen, Lucy, and Todd. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Ruth and Sound. Thank you, volunteers who checked everyone in today, and all who are Barbara and Allie and your team for preparing such a lovely spread on the promenade. So join us outdoors today. You can go out the arrows to the back and join us all outside on the promenade. And thank you, Kelly Lane. Thank you. And so here, they're bringing our offerings up. And so we thank you and we bless these offerings that have been given to go forth and do the work of love in our community and to fulfill our Unity of Bon Air mission and our vision for who we are, unconditional love and acceptance. And so we bless these tithes and offerings and we give thanks. And so it is.
The transformational opportunities for today. First, we want to say how grateful we are to all the generous souls who made the donations so we could have all these beautiful flowers this morning. Thank you. And anyone who made a donation, please pick up your flowers after the service to take with you. Nobody will see them this week in here. Please note that we will not have fellowship coffee Zoom after this service, and we will not have the 5 p.m. gathering service. Just for today, we won't have them. Both will be back next week. Next Sunday, we will have fellowship with prayers for peace at 12:30 on Zoom, and we will have the spiritual gathering service featuring Amanji Jubilee at 5 p.m. also on Zoom. Next Sunday, April 11th, at the 11 o'clock service, our Unity of Bon Air transition coordinator and prayer chaplain leader, Susan Green, she's back in the back there, will be speaking with us about our mission, which is to live and express unconditional love and acceptance. It's our mission should we choose to accept it. Have you considered serving as a Unity of Bon Air board member? We want you. Elections are coming in May. On April 11th at 2 p.m. on Zoom, we will have a second information session. This session will tell you about all the qualifications, commitment, and benefits of serving on the UBA Board of Directors. Meet some of our current board members and nominating committee to answer your questions. If you are interested in being on the board, contact Reverend Valerie before April 7th. Coming this week, something new. Every Thursday at 2:30, you can move and groove on Zoom with Myra Foster. Connect, move, and have fun in the Zumba-inspired, family-friendly workout geared to all ages and fitness levels. It's a great way to get a movement break into your day. Go ahead, clap. And I would like to acknowledge our prayer chaplains who support our spiritual community in prayer. If you have a concern or celebration, you can call Unity of Bon Air office at 804-320-5584 and leave a message on line 6. Your call will be returned by a chaplain who will pray with you and hold your prayer concern in strictest confidence. So that's for you this week, as well as anybody listening at home. To keep up with everything here at Unity of Bon Air, be sure to read the weekly e-news. You don't have to receive the e-news. If you don't receive the e-news, sign up at unitybonair.org. And thanks for following us on Facebook. And I'd like for the prayer chaplains to rise. There's Stephanie and Emily. Emily's not here, and I'm a prayer chaplain. So If you need a prayer or have a celebration, come up to one of us after the service. For details on this and everything else going on at Unity of Bonaire, you just have to check out the weekly news. So sign up on the website, or you can go to the website calendar. Or get in the loop. Announcements are shown before and after the live stream every Sunday. Join early or stay late and get all the details that Deb updates every week for us. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Valerie.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, our service has now ended, and our ministry of love continues. So virtually, we'll just join our arms, our hands here with those of you online, and we'll sing our peace song. And followed, we'll do our prayer first. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.